Welcome to Dreamy Tales English. I'm David. Tonight, we have a special story for you. It's called The Shaolin Disciple of Henan. Henan is a province in central China that has been called the cradle of Chinese civilization. But among all its ancient wonders, the Longmen Grottoes, the Yin ruins, the White Horse Temple, none is more famous than the Shaolin Temple. For over 1500 years, this temple has been the spiritual home of Chan Buddhism and the birthplace of Shaolin Kung Fu, one of the most influential martial arts in the world. Monks at the Shaolin Temple begin their training before dawn. They meditate, they chant sutras, and they practice Kung Fu, a system of combat and movement that combines strength, flexibility, balance, and spiritual discipline. Some spend their entire lives here, mastering forms that have been passed down through generations. Kai was 22 years old when he arrived at the Shaolin Temple. He had grown up in Los Angeles, the son of Chinese immigrants who had moved to the United States before he was born. He spoke English with an American accent, ate hamburgers for lunch, and had never set foot in China until his graduation from university. But Kai had always felt something missing. Growing up, his grandfather would tell him stories about the Shaolin monks, about their discipline, their strength, and their peace. His grandfather had trained at the temple when he was a young man, before the Cultural Revolution scattered the monks and closed the temple gates. "I was never able to finish my training," his grandfather told him. "But you can. If you go, you will find what you are looking for." Kai did not know what he was looking for. He only knew that he felt restless, untethered, and uncertain about the future. So after graduation, he booked a one-way ticket to Zhengzhou, took a bus to the foot of Song Mountain, and walked up the stone path to the Shaolin Temple. The temple was smaller than he had imagined. The buildings were old, their roofs curved and covered in gray tiles. In the main courtyard, dozens of young monks in gray robes were practicing basic stances, their legs bent low, their arms extended, their bodies perfectly still despite the heat. An elderly monk with a shaved head and a calm expression walked among them, correcting their postures with light touches. Kai approached the elderly monk and bowed. "I want to learn," he said. The monk studied him with quiet eyes. "You are American. My grandfather was Chinese. He trained here 70 years ago." The monk's expression softened. "What is your grandfather's name?" "Li Wei." The monk closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. "I remember him. He was strong. He left before his training was complete. It is good that you have come." And so Kai began his training. The first month was the hardest. He woke at 4 o'clock every morning, before sunrise, to meditate in the cold. He chanted sutras in a language he did not fully understand. He practiced basic stances, horse stance, bow stance, cat stance, for hours until his legs trembled and his muscles screamed. He learned to breathe deeply, to move slowly, to find stillness within exhaustion. The other monks were younger than him, some as young as 12, but they moved with a grace and precision that seemed impossible. They could kick higher than their heads, balance on one hand, and fall without injury. Kai watched them with admiration and frustration. "How long did it take you to learn that?" he asked one young monk, who had just performed a series of kicks that seemed to defy gravity. The young monk smiled. 8 years. I started when I was 6. Kai felt a pang of despair. He was 22. He had lost 16 years. That evening, during meditation, Kai could not focus. His mind was noisy, full of doubts, comparisons, and regrets. He sat in the meditation hall, surrounded by the other monks, but he felt more alone than ever. The elderly monk, whose name was Master Shi, approached him after the session ended. "What troubles you?" "I started too late," Kai said. "I will never be as good as them." Master Shi sat down beside him. "Why do you want to be good?" Kai hesitated. "Because I want to be strong. I want to be skilled. I want to be worthy of my grandfather's legacy." Master Shi nodded slowly. Kung Fu is not about being better than others. It is about being better than you were yesterday. The only competition is with yourself. He stood up and demonstrated a simple form, slow, deliberate, and fluid. This form took me 40 years to learn. Not to memorize, to understand. Every movement contains a lifetime of practice. You cannot rush that. You can only begin. Kai did not feel better immediately. But something shifted. He stopped comparing himself to the young monks and started focusing on his own progress. He woke up every morning, practiced every stance, and accepted that mastery was not a destination, it was a practice. Over the next year, Kai transformed. His body grew lean and strong. His mind became quieter. His movements became more deliberate. He learned the 5 animal frolics, the tiger, the crane, the leopard, the snake, and the dragon, and discovered that each animal taught him something different: strength, grace, speed, flexibility, and power. He also learned the philosophy behind the forms. Shaolin Kung Fu was not about fighting. It was about harmony, between body and mind, between self and world, between movement and stillness. The forms were not weapons. They were meditations. One afternoon, Master Shi called Kai to his quarters. "You have been here for a year," he said. "You have made progress. But there is something I have not taught you." "What is it?" Kai asked. "The most important lesson," Master Shi said. "Kung Fu is not about what you can do. It is about what you can let go of." He handed Kai a wooden staff. "Break this." Kai took the staff and struck it against the ground. It did not break. He struck it harder. Still nothing. He braced it against a stone pillar and pushed with all his strength. The staff bent but did not snap. Master Shi took the staff from him. "You are trying to break it with force. That is not the way." He held the staff in both hands, closed his eyes, and breathed. Then, with a movement so fast Kai barely saw it, he struck the staff against the edge of a stone step. The staff cracked cleanly in two. "How did you do that?" Kai asked. "I did not fight the staff," Master Shi said. "I worked with it. I used its own resistance against it. That is the essence of Kung Fu, not to resist, but to flow. Not to dominate, but to harmonize." Kai looked at the broken staff and understood. He had been trying to force his way through the training, to overpower his limitations, to prove himself. But Kung Fu was not about force. It was about surrender, to the process, to the teacher, to the wisdom of the body. That evening, Kai called his grandfather on video. He showed him the temple, the courtyard, the meditation hall, and the training ground. His grandfather watched with tears in his eyes. "You did it," his grandfather said. "You completed what I could not." "I am still learning," Kai said. "That is the point," his grandfather replied. "You never stop. Good night, and sweet dreams."